So I'm relatively new to TikTok and only recently picked it up this year, but TikTok's absolutely flooded with streetwear brands at the moment, and they're popping up faster than rabbits in spring. Every other post I'm seeing is some 15-year-old kid telling me they're following their dreams of creating their own brand.
This is a dream that I have had since lunch, and I am not giving up on it now.
But they're all selling the same oversized blank t-shirt and hoodie from Printful, and they stick on some gothic fonts with some random spiritual symbol, claiming to represent their deepest identity, when in reality, it was just an AI-generated image from ChatGPT. And I hate to be the one to say it, but 100% of them are just pure garbage. The clothes are bad, people are getting scammed, so let's yap about it. At first, let's be clear, I'm not trying to discourage anyone from starting their own brand or being an entrepreneur, because I'm self-employed myself and I totally encourage it. And also, social media is great for fashion content. It's fast, visual, and inspirational. You can be watching Japanese workwear outfits inspiration 1 second, and then the next, you're watching a Get Ready With Me with Amy Leon Dad. But as with anything that blows up, there's always a wave of spam that follows. And that's where the TikTok streetwear brands come in. Usually ran by one guy from his bedroom with a Shopify and Canva account. So they start with a teaser video and a caption like, "After 2 years of working, it's finally here," or "Day one of starting my own fashion brand," and then they proceed to show the diabolical drawing that they've sent to the manufacturer. Which to me, it's just a massive disrespect to people who are actually designers. You know, you click on these TikTok streetwear brands profile and there's only 3 videos, all of them posted within the last week with 0 customer feedback. And they always talk about how each of their designs took months of iteration, but it's just a default template on Printful. And because of this, these TikTok streetwear brands, they all suffer from one major problem. They all look exactly the same. There's this weird echo chamber aesthetics, and they're just all circle jerking each other. Everyone's ripping off a genuine streetwear brand in real time, recycling the same fonts, symbols, and slogan, until you're left with just a pile of identityless trash. You know, 1 week is gothic fonts and angel wings that's just copied off Max Holloway's back tattoo. Next week is dystopian tech core with gas masks and chrome effects. There's no clear design DNA, just a cycle of what's trending this week, visually slapped onto a blank hoodie. They also try to give off this illusion of quality as well. So a lot of these TikTok streetwear brands, they all say heavyweight 500 GSM, but that alone doesn't make a hoodie premium or high quality. Sure, thickness helps, but anyone who's held a well-made sweatshirt knows that weight doesn't equal quality. You know, the stitching, the dye, the shape retention, that's what really counts. But most of these TikTok brands are just buying the thickest blanks from their supplier, hoping no one's going to notice that the panels are all held together with a single stitch and just wouldn't survive after one wash. You know, there's a difference between making it sound like it's quality and actually sourcing quality products to your consumer. And right now, there's just too many of these TikTok brands that are just tricking their customers to buy their latest products. They also tried to create this fake limited drop demand as well. So it used to be that limited releases was a result of actual limitation, like a small run from an independent designer. Now it's just a strategy. TikTok brands will say only 50 available, or once it's gone, it's gone, but it's all just print on demand. Now, inherently, there's nothing wrong with print on demand. So brands like Gymshark, they actually started out as a print on demand business, and Supreme thrived on the limited drops. But these TikTok brands, they don't have a warehouse. There's just no actual stock. There's just a spreadsheet and a printer in a factory somewhere waiting for your orders to come through. So scarcity has become a trick to make you think that a hoodie feels like a rare collectible. And to me, it's just super frustrating that these TikTok brands are weaponizing scarcity as a marketing tool. You know, they manufacture urgency, countdown timer, fake sold out tags to make generic hoodies feel like a rare collectible. And when you pair that with fast moving TikTok hype, people start panic buying before they've even seen the fit. And here's the kicker. So despite being print on demand, people still aren't getting their orders. You know, orders are delayed for weeks, sometimes months. There's no customer service, DMs, they go unanswered, no return policy, and it all starts unraveling. You know, you're buying from a TikTok account with a Canva and Shopify account. I mean, just check out the Trustpilot reviews of some of these TikTok streetwear brands. Why people are still buying from them is absolutely beyond me. They are literally the worst of both worlds. You know, you don't get the speed or reliability of traditional retailers, but you also don't get the care and intention of a true independent brand. This isn't exclusivity, it's just expensive FOMO. Now, you're going to build a brand on the promise of limited drops, then at the very least, deliver on that promise. Ship on time, be transparent about timeline, and maybe don't charge £200 for blank hoodie that hasn't even been quality checked. And another thing about these brands, I kind of mentioned it earlier, is that their identity is just all over the place. They almost always say they're representing the misfits or the outsiders or some bad man not to be messed with, and yet somehow their core audience always end up being the exact opposite. You know, these brands, they claim to speak for the unheard or the overlooked or the misunderstood, but their biggest customers are privileged teenagers who have nothing better to do. You know, earlier this year, 2 of these TikTok streetwear brands ran a joint giveaway campaign promising exclusive items to anyone who turned up to a specific location in London. And it was just outside N Clothing, Percival and Uniform Standards store. And I actually got caught up in the event. And what happened next was surreal. The street was literally filled with thousands and thousands of teenagers, and they've just stormed the street, trying to cause havoc on anything that they can see. And half of these kids, I bet didn't even know what they're queuing for. And here's the irony. Brands that say they're anti-mainstream ends up creating the most mainstream behavior possible. Massive queues, clock chasing, and a desperate need to feel like they're part of something exclusive. And then when these TikTok brands, when they're not trying to scam people, they're actually just so-called gurus. You know, the ones who aren't actually running a successful brand, they're just trying to sell you a dream of one. I mean, these gurus, they're not exclusive to TikTok streetwear brands, but they'll pop up on your feed, usually in front of a rented Lambo or some Airbnb pretending to be their office, telling you how easy it is to start your own clothing brand and make passive income while you sleep. The barrier to entry is relatively low. You know, all you got to do is find a supplier, launch a Shopify store, make a TikTok post, and suddenly you're now the founder and CEO of your own brand. And for some people, that formula works. You know, Gymshark, they went from print on demand in his bedroom into a £1 billion business. But the reality of these TikTok brands is most of them are not selling any clothes. They're trying to sell you a course. They say they've packed everything into this condensed package, but the reality is it's just all content taken from YouTube or Reddit, and call it a masterclass on how to build a 7-figure business, but they're charging you 20 quid for the secret sauce, despite the fact that they themselves have never built anything successful. And in fact, it doesn't take much digging to figure this out neither. You know, you can just check out whether or not they've got an actual brand website. It's either completely inactive or it only has 4 products with no reviews. Or if you're in the UK, you can look up people's name and check company house, and you'll see that most of them don't even have a business created. And the annoying thing is, TikTok isn't designed to reward truth, it rewards confidence. So as long as you speak convincingly and drop phrases like branding, customer retention, and profit margin, then people will believe you. Especially teenagers who haven't even entered their 9-to-5 job are already desperate to escape it. And they think that starting a clothing line is their ticket out. But here's the thing, if someone's real business was actually thriving, they wouldn't need to spend every day convincing strangers to buy their course. They'd be too busy actually running their own business or making YouTube videos like this one. So if you see one of those, how I made £85,000 last month with no experience videos, just take it with a pinch of salt and maybe check if their brand even has a real Instagram presence before handing over your credit card. And then lastly, we can't ignore the environmental impact it has as well. So, these print on demand sound sustainable because there's no waste, but the reality is they use very cheap synthetics, blanks made overseas, global shipping emissions, and low return rates. It all adds up. And most of these pieces, they don't even get worn more than 2 or 3 times before they get thrown away. So it's just a clothing landfill in disguise. And because these brands, they aren't thinking about longevity, there's no incentive to create quality pieces that age well or encourage repeat wear. The model is very short term, make it, sell it, and disappear. Don't get me wrong, there are some fantastic brands out there who are relying on social media to grow their business. So you've got Somewhere Good, Every Other Thursday, and also About Blank. They've all got really great social media presence and they offer fantastic products with great customer service. And that's when it's fun to buy into some of these newer brands. Whereas if you look at a lot of these other TikTok streetwear brands, they have no soul, no story, and no design process neither, then you're not really expressing yourself. You're just wearing someone else's algorithm. So if you do see a new TikTok streetwear brand, or if they're relatively new and don't have a lot of reviews yet, then just check what it is that they're trying to sell you. Is it good quality products that are responsibly sourced and well made? Or is it just a standard blank hoodie that you could have bought for a tenth of the price, but you end up paying £200 for it and you're actually never going to receive it? So that was me venting about TikTok streetwear brands. Hope you found that insightful. And if you want to check out another video I made recently, then you can click on this video here. As always, thanks for listening to me yap, and I'll catch you in the next one.